Welcome back. I'm now joined by Brittany Loffer, Phil Novotzik, and Kelsey Metzger. We're discussing the Super Bowl here. It's only week 2, pretty early on in the NFL season, but heck, you always need a preseason prediction. Phil, let's start with you.
I'm going with the Denver Broncos. I'm saving my points until we get through the rest of them.
Okay, Kelsey, what do you have?
All right, well, fair enough. I'm going with the Saints. I'm not going to give away all of my points if Phil's not giving away his.
That's fair.
All right, and, well, I'm going with the Seahawks.
And let me guess, you don't want to get through your points until we go through everyone else.
Sounds about
All
right.
right. Well, you know, because that's what we're going to do here on the Pioneer
I
side.
was hoping someone would
let's
fall
go
for that.
back
Okay,
to
fine.
Phil.
I'll go first then. All right, I'm going with the Broncos. Look, last season, yes, they got knocked out by the Ravens, who, I might remind you all, ended up winning the Super Bowl. But the biggest thing with them is their team is much better this year than it was last year. They added Wes Welker on offense. Demaryius Thomas has another year of experience in the league. I just think that overall this team is the only team through 2 weeks that's playing in midseason form.
Oh, through 2 weeks. Through 2 weeks, everyone. Did we hear that? They're the only team
Yeah, I think they all heard it.
that
Mike's
have
on,
done
right?
so well. Can we remember that we're in week 2, please? I don't want to
This
hear
is just
about
a guess,
week
though.
2.
This is just a fun guess. You can't get too technical.
Wait, time out. Let's cool the levels. Let's cool the levels here. It's all chill. We're all friends. Remember, we did say this is an early preseason prediction, so we're just keeping it cool. Through 2 weeks, Phil has a point, and you guys all seem to have a valid point. Now, now you can bow it out. Now, just throw the gloves down.
Okay, well, I took the Saints so far. I think they have good momentum going into the season with Sean Payton returning as their head coach. Their offense is always pretty good. I've seen steady defense through week 2. So, I mean, it's an early season guess.
All right, and well, I'm going with the Seahawks, and right now they're leading the NFC, and they're like already picked for the Super Bowl against Broncos. And yes, it's 2 weeks. I understand that. I heard it. But you know what? They're a very physical team. They go to the game to fight and to beat people up. They don't just talk the talk. They walk the walk. And that's what you need when you're going to the Super Bowl. You have to have your head on tight, ready to fight.
You heard it here on the Pioneer Sideline first. They don't just walk the walk. They talk the talk. Okay, but anyways, back to the argument, guys.
And not
What we
only
got here?
do they have all that, they also have a good quarterback in Russell Wilson. And they have great running with Marshawn Lynch and Wilson. And on the defense, they added a bunch of depth and to help increase their pass rushing by Michael Bennett and Clint Avil, who have been good pass rushers in the league before. And they'll get even better once they get Chris Clemens back from his injury and Bruce Irvin back from his suspension.
All right. You know, I do like your defense, Brittany. I will give you that. I think they have a solid defense. What I don't like is I don't like your possible sophomore slump. And I also don't like that when it comes down to it, I don't know if Russell Wilson has the experience.
Okay, but Ben Roethlisberger won a Super Bowl for us, I believe, in the second year.
Let's take a look. Who remembers the Super Bowl of Ben Roethlisberger's second year? I know that he definitely wasn't the one who won the game for us.
But did they get there? Did they win the Super Bowl?
But
yes. So then
So,
he was
Phil,
there.
what do you have down there
So
in
anyway,
Lonely Island?
What I have for the Broncos, I'll get to your teams in a second here. Look, the Broncos have no competition in the AFC. And I'm not going to buy into the whole Peyton Manning chokes in the playoffs theory yet.
Oh my
Okay,
God.
he's won a Super Bowl.
But you also
One.
Wes Welker.
Yeah, how many
Wes
have Drew
Welker
Brees won?
also
How many does Drew
chose-
Brees have? He has 1. How many does Russell Wilson have?
How many
0.
opportunities has Peyton Manning had?
He's
He
had
has
2.
gone-
He's
has
been to the
gone
Super Bowl twice.
8 years. He's gone one and done.
Okay,
He chokes every
Drew
single
Brees
game.
has been in the
It's
league
not
almost
just-
as long as Peyton Manning. Look,
But he did
Yes.
beat Peyton Manning.
yes, he did. But
in
okay,
the
now
Super Bowl there.
look at the way they've lost. Peyton Manning in the playoffs has 2 interceptions in his career. He does not lose those games. Their defense loses the games. Their defense this year, once Von Miller comes back, is going to be the best defense Peyton Manning's ever had. You look at the AFC, who's going to compete with them? The Patriots, that can barely beat the Bills or the Jets. The Steelers, they're not a powerhouse anymore. The Ravens lost 9 players.
But I think if you take a look at Denver and you've seen, look at who they've played so far. They played a Ravens team who's, barely beat the Browns this past week, and they played a Giants team who I think is just like the Steelers, and I think they're rebuilding this year. So they haven't really had stiff competition yet. I do like Denver. I think they'll be an AFC powerhouse. However, I do not like Peyton Manning. I think that, he's great during the regular season, and that's it. He's great during the regular season. You take a look at him through the playoffs. He's gone 8 years. He's gone one and done. And, he's had great teams around him. It's not
But it's not just Peyton Manning. Your safety's not even strong. And they're not the
Clearly because of the playoffs last year when he completely misjudged the 70-yard pass. I'll give you that point. That's true. The safeties aren't
and
great.
the running game is still a question because they haven't even decided on running back for sure. It's not 100% yet. And then on top of that, your best lineman is out for an injury right now, Ryan Clady. that's going to throw you back a
Look,
lot.
the bottom line is Peyton Manning's team this year is better than his Super Bowl team was. His wide receivers are all better. Marvin Harrison and Reggie Wayne, they were both great. They were nowhere near as good as Demaryius Thomas. He has the physical necessities to be a number 1 receiver in this league. Wes Welker, a much better number 2 receiver than Marvin Harrison was. Eric Decker, if Peyton Manning does not win the Super Bowl this year, then I will give in and I will concede that Peyton Manning is a choke master in the playoffs.
I just think that you take a look at Peyton Manning, and he's kind of like the second coming of Tony Romo. Difference is Tony Romo doesn't win the game to get into the playoffs. Peyton Manning doesn't win the game in the playoffs. They're very
Except for his ring.
comparable.
He can't be like inconsistent when going into the playoffs and expecting to win. Like
He
that.
still won a Super Bowl.
Okay, it's just.
I think that's the only thing about the Seahawks. I do like the Seahawks. I think they're a strong NFC team. I don't think that we have that many. I don't really see a strong team overall this year. The Seahawks are a little bit too inconsistent.
That and
You
their
take a look at the
jerseys are
first
just
two.
ugly. I mean,
take a
they're
look at the
ugly.
first
Jerseys
two
are
games.
ugly.
Fashion contest.
Ugly.
Come on, it's sports now.
Have you ever seen a Super Bowl team with an ugly uniform?
Games, though, their
I mean,
defense
really.
is great, but their offense is inconsistent. They're won 12-7 one week, then they completely blow up the Niners. I'm not quite sure where they're at this season, and that's the problem
But
I have.
if
They
you look-
don't have consistency yet this year, and I'm not stuck on them.
If you look at the Saints, though, they have a weak defense. Their inside
They have a strong defense.
Okay,
They
their
won their
inside
both two
linebackers
games.
are
They're both
terribly
defense-
slow, though.
They won
And
their first two
they
games,
don't
and
have a
the defense kept them in check. This is a year that I've seen
Okay,
good
but they don't
defense
have a
so far
consistent
from
running
them.
game at all. Their offensive line
They
is
don't
still
need
in a
consistent-
rebuilding process, and they have trouble.
Well, time. All right. Phil, what do you have?
I'm going to go to the Seahawks now, take a break from the Saints and the Broncos. Look, Seahawks, they have a great defense. There's no denying that. But even if they make the Super Bowl, I do not trust a second-year quarterback to take them to get the ring. Russell Wilson is a great quarterback. He'll be in the league for a long time and see a lot of
If we
success.
have the offense and defense to push him up like we did Roethlisberger, then
Yeah,
I don't
but
see
his
what the problem
his
with
offense
that.
is not that
This is
good.
great. Can you name some great players? Great players on the Seahawks right now.
Uh-oh.
Oh, great players. You can't name those standout guys who have been there, who know they'll get it done. They're not there yet. I think they'll make a run for it, but it's not quite there. And here's the main point. The experts picked the Seahawks and they picked the Broncos to go to the Super Bowl this year. The experts are always wrong, which makes my argument right.
No, not at all.
Experts are always wrong
False.
every year. That's it.
They could be right.
False.
Why can't they be
It's
right?
completely, they're wrong every year.
I'm not even gonna touch
Which
on
means
that.
It's totally gonna be the Saints. All right, game over.
I would not
The
be
Saints are
surprised to
not
see
going
the
to go
Saints
marching
going
in.
to the
I'm sorry.
championship.
That's
I'll give
just
you
not
that.
gonna happen.
I could see the Saints winning the NFC because San Francisco, Colin Kaepernick, he could have a sophomore slump. We can see Russell Wilson have the same thing. The Saints, right now, as crazy as it sounds, are a dark horse in the NFC. Nobody's giving them any attention. But like you said, Sean Payton is back. I would not be surprised to see a Drew Brees Peyton Manning rematch in the Super Bowl.
But if they can't protect their quarterback,
Ding,
how is
that's
he
the
gonna
bell.
stop?
That's
Who
the
says
bell.
they can't protect the quarterback?
That's the bell. It's over. It's over.
Okay.
And for the safety of myself, I don't think I'm going to declare anyone. I'll say you're all
Oh,
winners.
shocker.
Because you all, I'm afraid there might be a fight in the parking lot afterwards. So I'll say you all, but in all honesty, you guys did a great job. Great episode of Sideline here again. That'll do it for this week. Join us next week, same time, same Pioneer channel, same Pioneer Sideline.